Yo, yo, it's the RedBlue podcast crew. Reviewing flicks, both old and new. Red and blue, not political. Nah, man, chill. It was Marvel versus DC till we lost that thrill. Don't stress the episode, don't ask the season. We double up franchises, don't ask for a reason. Moti's got rules that nobody gets. His takes on movies, they're wild as it gets. He's got superbald Mac and Gray by his side, trying to keep it sane while they're in for the ride. Moti's measures are out of control, but in the end he's got the final role. Yeah, that blue podcast, come check the scene. Movies old and new, know what I mean?
This is the top secret after show. Let's do this. If you want to see the main show, go in the description below. Or you can also watch this current movie review and then watch the main show. Anyway, let's get started. I am Multi the Big Talk, your host. I hope all of you will enjoy. Let's do this. And let's talk about Top Secret, a movie made in 1984. How are you, Superbald?
I'm good, yeah.
I'm doing good. That movie was interesting. Sadly, on my end, I don't have a lot to say. So hopefully you will have a lot more than me to say about that movie. And I guess this shall start the discussion on Top Secret. What did you think of that movie that was chosen by Gray?
Um, hmm. It was okay. It's not my. I went into this blind because I'd never seen it. I knew it was one of those spoof movies, and it was directed by the Zucker brothers. So it was very. I knew it was going to be like Airplane and like Naked Gun and those types of movies. But I find this one doesn't hold up as well as those. Um, a lot of it is very dated. The whole premise is dated anyway because it takes place in East Germany, which no longer exists because the Cold War is over. Mind you, we're kind of in a new Cold War, but that's a whole other thing. Um, yeah, and a lot of the humor I found was a lot of the humor wouldn't fly today anyway. There was a lot of like homophobic humor, a lot of sexist humor. Um, yeah, I was so I don't have a whole lot to say, but there's things in it that I did enjoy. A lot of the visual gags made me laugh, uh, as though often happens with those types of movies. Like some of the stuff I did like, the when they're in the train, you're reading a newspaper called the Daily Oppressor. Um, they actually had a rubber stamp for the "Find him and kill him." um, the scene where we see the map of them traveling, it turns into Pac-Man. I love the little carrier pigeon who had a little helmet and aviator goggles, uh, or the one at one point there's a statue in the background and humans fly onto it in pee. It's a statue of a pigeon, and humans fly on it in pee instead of the other way around. Pigeons peeing, or pooping on a statue. Um, One thing I found funny is that the East Germans, they literally made them look like Nazis, even though this took place in the 80s, and they had the exact same uniforms as World War II, the same guns and everything. The only thing they were missing were the swastikas. But obviously, East German soldiers and police did not look like that because pretty much all Nazi imagery was banned on both sides of Germany after the war. But I mean, these movies, movies like this are not concerned with realism and they shouldn't be. Another thing that made me laugh, the uh, when Val Kilmer's character plays a song in front of everybody for the first time, there's this stuffy old guy who starts smashing his guitar like Jimi Hendrix and Pete Townsend from The Who. Omar Sharif when he was stuffed into the crushed car. They walk into a room that says prop room and they're full of propellers. There was a jab at the New York Post, which I thought was really funny. Another thing she said, we will what was her name? Oh, I didn't write it down, but the main actress, she said something, is we will continue to resist as long as an actor can be elected president, which is always because Reagan at the time this movie was made. Reagan was a president, and he was an actor before becoming a politician. But I find it's that one is still relevant today,
Yeah,
given
for sure.
who is president right now.
Yeah,
Uh, the cast, Val Kilmer. This was actually his first movie, and as far as I know, this is the only comedy that he was ever in.
well,
Uh,
can we consider Batman Forever a comedy? That's trash. But, I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah, I'd say
it's,
yeah, but the one that came out after that, Batman and Robin, that one is definitely an unintentional comedy. Yeah, I agree with you with that, but this was like the only, I'd say, intentional comedy he's ever made,
yeah,
and it was his first movie, and I'm glad that he went on to do much better things.
yeah,
I was a bit disappointed that he didn't do his own singing in this because a few years after, maybe 5 or 6 years after this came out, they did a biopic of the Doors, and he played Jim Morrison, and he did his own singing, and he was amazing in it. Um, as far as I know, this is the only movie I've ever seen with Omar Sharif. He played Agent Cedric. I know he was kind of like not necessarily a Hollywood legend, but he was a very well-known character actor in older Hollywood movies. But as far as I know, this is the only one I've ever seen, which is a shame because the dude, even though it's a stupid movie and was playing a very stupid character, he did a very capable job, and I'd like to see him out of the in other stuff. Um, the the General Strecht, I kept thinking to myself, where have I seen this guy? I couldn't remember. I'm like, I've seen this dude somewhere else. So I had to look it up on IMDb, and then I realized where I saw him. He had appeared in an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation where he played Captain Picard's brother, Robert Picard. Um, there was also Peter Cushing, the famous Peter Cushing. He played the Swedish bookstore owner, the dude with the huge eye. I that scene I didn't get at all. I have no idea why they did it. They did it in reverse because I guess the guy's Swedish and they think Swedish sounds like backwards English. I don't know. I don't get the gag there. Um, uh, Michael Gaug or however that's pronounced, who played Dr. Paul Flamon. Speaking of Batman Forever, he's the dude who played Alfred in that, and
oh,
in the and in Batman and Robin, and the two Batman movies that Tim Burton directed with Michael Keaton, Batman and Batman Returns. Yeah, that was the dude who played Alfred.
wow. I did
Uh,
not know that. All I
there was
remember was the main actors involved, but not the Alfred actor.
yeah, and Colonel Von Horst was played by Warren Clark, who uh, I don't know if you've ever seen a Clockwork Orange, but he played
I
Dim.
did.
He played Dim in Clockwork Orange,
Yeah,
the one of the Droogs who wasn't very bright, which is why they call them Dim.
that was a
Uh,
troubling movie that I
yeah,
enjoyed.
very much so. But yeah, the plot is like all over the place. I mean, these movies aren't meant to have a very serious plot anyway. They're just movies meant to with gags, but they're mocking. I find they were mocking too many genres of movies. They're mocking like old Elvis movies from the '60s, Cold War and '60s. A lot of movies from '50s and '60s they were mocking like Cold War movies and spy movies and just and I think that stuff was already kind of dated at the time they made this. So I don't know which.
I think
Uh,
that was mostly spy movies.
yeah,
I think.
yeah, but there was some references to like old like Elvis Presley movies from the '60s. So like they were mocking like a lot of genres, and a lot of the stuff they were mocking was already kind of dated when this came out. So I don't know what the target audience for this was really, which is why I think the movie was from what I read, it was a huge flop when it came out. Um, I did find the intro where they make the parody of the Beach Boys song "Surfing USA" Skeet Surfing. I thought that was hilarious. I do have to admit that was just so utterly ridiculous and pointless, but I loved it. Um, And some gags did subvert expectations, like especially during the opening scene where they're fighting on top of the train. I mean, the dude stands up, and and there's a rail bridge coming, and you expect this guy's going to get killed by the rail bridge, but no, he goes right through it, and he's fine. Stuff like that. So, yeah, it's not a terrible movie, and stuff made me laugh, but overall, I didn't think it was a great movie. It's something I'll probably never watch again.
That's interesting. So I won't say. Well, I think it was a great movie, but not meant for me as a target audience, maybe. And just like you, I don't see myself rewatching it. But I think I enjoyed it more than you. I only had one issue with the entire movie, but I don't have that much likes, so that means like it. I was along with the trip. I was just like not hating it or liking it. I was just like right in between, like
Mm-hmm.
I was along for the ride, and it was an entertaining ride. So that's a plus. It's a good thing that, again, I don't think I was a target audience, but my only issue with that movie is really the characters. They were forgettable. Like,
Very much so.
ask me any name, I can't remember. Ask me any character arc, I can't remember. Uh, Outside of Val Kilmer, who these people were, I don't know. And even there, even Val Kilmer, it's not because his character is better than the rest. It's because I know him from Batman and Top Gun.
Exactly.
It's I know him because of the other movies he did, not this specific movie. So that just hammer home more the fact that these characters are indeed forgettable. And for once, maybe I'm not crazy when I say that.
No, I actually very much agree with you. It's very forgettable characters. Um, I had to write down the names because if I'd be able to tell you who some of these actors are because I recognize them, but I wouldn't tell you. If I hadn't written them down, I wouldn't be able to tell you what their characters' names are. They're very forgettable.
It's unfortunate because me, when I watch a movie, I can enjoy a trash movie if I like the characters.
Oh,
That's
same here. But this one, I don't know. There was parts where it felt a bit like a chore to watch.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was watching at 1.5 speed, so maybe that helped. But I again, I don't have much hatred toward that movie. I wasn't the target audience. I still like parts of it. I thought the entertaining opening sequence with the train was fun. The humor was solid. Great showing overtelling. The guy breaking the guitar was cool. The action was entertaining. The fourth wall break on being a bad movie premise was funny. The action was entertaining. So I feel like the big headlight for me, the big takeaway for me is the action. When there was something going on, I liked it. So I will feel like I inflated that movie a lot when it comes to score. But again, I don't hate that movie. I rewatch? I don't think so. And I've given the same grade this movie had to many other movies, but I feel like all of the other movies I've given the grade to deserves it more. So yeah, I don't have a lot to say, unfortunately. I'm glad Grace suggested that because hey, that's another movie I've seen that I feel like people should see it at least once, just to say they have seen it.
Hmm.
Is it a masterpiece? Maybe, but am I the target
Hmm.
audience? I don't think
I
so.
find I find in that genre, like these kind of like goofy gag movies, there are much better ones, like Airplane and Naked Gun and Scary Movie and that kind of genre movie. There are more. There I find there are much better ones than this.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's interesting because I will go on a very small tangent, but like I feel like the same kind of movie was done better many times over, and that reminds me of
Mm.
like other sport movies, like in recent days, Dream Magazine, that just came out last week, and I've seen it because Chillmonger was like, oh, I'm interested by that, so I'm like, oh, you know what, I will go watch that, and I've seen the Iron Claw. That was a better take than Dream Magazine on the same kind of idea, and I've seen Unstoppable again, another better sport drama, and I feel like Ear Top Secret, there are better comedies that parody stuff. It's a bit unfortunate,
Hmm.
but again, I feel like that score will be inflated. I will ask you, do you want to add anything else?
No, not really.
So since you got Mike, what would be your grade out of 10?
This is going to be honestly a 4 out of 10 for me.
Interesting. I can see where you're coming from. Again, I will repeat myself. It will feel inflated, but among the bunch of movies I've given the same score, I think that one is the worst in the bunch. 9.7 because I only had one issue and I didn't hate it. Did I thought that was a priceless movie I want to rewatch? No,
Okay.
but I
Now,
think it's a
I'm
great
used to
movie.
your style of grading now, so that doesn't surprise me.
That's still a great movie. I think it's a great movie, but I didn't connect with it that much. So I understand why you would give it a 4, and I also understand why Gray would suggest such movie. So that was a fun experience. Thank you, Gray, for suggesting that movie. And I guess we are out.
Yeah, Red Blue Podcast. Come check the scene. Movies old and new. Know what I mean? The Red Blue Podcast. Come check the scene. Movies old and new. Know what I mean?